Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another live for AFM session. So today's objective is to take down all your consider all of your doubts, and one of the other main objectives is to discuss in a new technical article which is published very recently for the upcoming September 2023 exams. So please do take the file which is I already shared with you in the group. We'll be going with the same file. So let me share the screen. Okay. Yeah. So this is the article which is available in the ACCA website. So for the easy discussion, I made it into a PDF file so that we could take down some notes if you want. And I already highlighted the key topics or key points that's going to be our takeaway from this technical article for our exam sessions. So there is a previous technical article which compares IPO versus reverse takeover. There was an previous technical article which is IPO versus reverse takeover that is already considered in our regular class session. So this is a continuation of the same, but whoever didn't go through the technical article of IPO versus reverse takeover also will be able to follow this lecture. Okay. But it is very important, it is highly important, those who didn't went through that technical article comparing IPO versus reverse takeover, it's an important technical as important as the new technical article. How many of you gone through that lectures, the lectures for the regular batches? Could you please confirm yes or no, the reverse takeover comparing with the IPO? Could you please confirm how many of you gone through that? For those students who didn't went that, I'll be sharing once again the technical article in the group. Please do read and watch the lectures. Okay, great. So having said this, we are going to discuss this topic. See, this topic is actually comparison between IPO versus, there's a comparison between IPO one minute. IPO versus what? IPO versus these three methodologies, these three alternative methodology for listing. Okay. So before discussing this technical article, could you please read? Could you please read what is meant by IPO? Actually, this is an what assumed knowledge from FM syllabus. What is an IPO? How it is going to happen and all. So I'll give you a few minutes. Please do read till this point. What is an IPO? What is meant by initial public offer and how it is working. I'll give you a few minutes. After reading, you will get we will be into a discussion. Then you will get a clear picture on what is IPO. So I'll wait for a few minutes. Please do read. Hopefully everyone won't read through this IPO topic. As many of you already know that what is an IPO? IPO is initial public offer, which makes a private company to take fund from the public, and it can be listed in a stock market after going for an initial public offer. And the key takeaways for an IPO is it is done through, most of the case, IPO is underwritten through an underwriters, investment banks. IPO is underwritten through investment banks, and these investment banks or underwriters evaluates the risk associated with IPO. If we go for an IPO, there is no guarantee that every investor is accepting our entire shares. So there is a concept named as minimal subscription. Assume we issued 100 number of shares. Assume we issued 100 number of shares. Based on the Companies Act in each country, there will be a stipulation that requires a minimum number of percentage of shares to be subscribed. For example, if the minimum subscription is 90%, for example, if the minimum percentage of subscription is 90%, if we issued 100 shares, and if at all the subscription or the application for the shares is less than 90 numbers, like say 85 numbers, out of the 100 issued, only 85 applications been received. That means it is less than 90%, which was the minimum subscription. So if at all the application is below the minimum subscription, the entire process of IPO will be cancelled. Whatever time we spent, whatever cost we spent will be waste for the organization. So in order to evaluate the riskiness of this initial public offer and to get an effective guarantee that the shares will be issued, whatever the unsubscribed number of shares. In my example, the minimum subscription was 90%. In my example, the minimum subscription was 90%. Assume 85% being applied by the public investors. Rest of the 5%, whatever is the balance percentage, will be guaranteed by an underwriter. This is the normal thing happens with the underwriting service. If we go through most of the case, IPO goes with an underwriting process. The service what we are getting in an underwriting is that the riskiness of the IPO will be evaluated, plus whatever the percentage of shares is not subscribed in order to make minimum subscription, that will be guaranteed by the underwriters. So that underwriters provides a minimum guarantee of the minimal subscription, but still there's a 10% or whatever the balancing figure amount we are not going to get. Plus, this underwriting is a bit expensive. We have to pay around, on an average, 2 to 7% of the issue proceeds what we are raising through the public offer. And in an economic downtime time, in a period of economic downtime, most of the case the IPO may not be successful. So as an organization, we are searching for an alternative methods for an IPO. Okay, we are searching for alternative methods for IPO. One, as I mentioned earlier, it was reverse takeover. The other three methods are Dutch auctions, special purpose acquisition companies or SPAC, and direct listing. So the key things regarding IPO is the traditional way to get listing. Most of the case it is done through underwriters, where it requires a lot of time and it will be costlier. Plus there is one more other thing, very important thing. Here I highlighted. See, the yellow and different colors I highlighted is the key points that we should learn from this technical article. See, the price. Here is an example of LinkedIn shares. See, in IPO, LinkedIn for the IPO of the LinkedIn, the price were 45. How we are going to get this price? This price is provided by the underwriters. See, I can show you here once again. Yeah, underwriters are the supporting factor to help us to identify a price. So it is not based on the market force. See, the price is not based on the market demand and supply. Through the analysis of these underwriters and all, we will fix a price. The organization, with the help of the underwriters, we are fixing a price. There's a high chance that the price might be very undervalued, and the company will end up with the shares is significantly underpriced. See, in case of LinkedIn, the price they fixed was 45. In the morning when they started the IPO, the price was 45. In the same day itself, the same share price were at 94.25. The LinkedIn could issue the shares. The LinkedIn could issue the shares at 94. Why? Because the demand and supply through the market force, the price became to 94.25. They issued, based on their analysis, they issued at 45 only. The LinkedIn issued their price only at 45. But due to the market force, demand and supply in the market made the price into 94.25. This shows that the increase in such an increase implies that IPO was significantly underpriced for the LinkedIn, and when this happens, the issuing company loses out because it ended up raising less capital. So, see, assume LinkedIn company issued 100 shares, they only raised 100 into 45. They could raise only 100 into 45. But if at all they went for the market forces to determine the price, like demand and supply in the market, based on that, they could actually raise how much? 94.25 based on the closing price on the day one. Okay, so if this happens, like underpricing happens, the issuing company will end up with raising less capital. So these are the key takeaway points for IPO. Number one, IPO is went through underwriters, so that it is a traditional way, so that it consumes a lot of time, costlier. Plus, there is a chance of the price might be underpriced. Is it okay? Is it okay? Could you please confirm?
Yes, sir.
Please do confirm the 3 key points. It is through underwriters, timely, and it requires a lot of time and costly. Plus, the price might underpriced. Yeah. Now we are searching for alternative method. One of the important alternative method was reverse takeover. It is already explained in a separate technical article. Please go through if you didn't went through that. So next, what I want you guys to read this, what is meant by Dutch auction. Only the first paragraph, note the advantages and disadvantages. Just read what is Dutch auction. I'll wait. Hopefully you guys went through what is meant by Dutch auction. Please do take your notes, okay, and do write down the key points. Hopefully you already know that IPO key points. That's why I'm not insisting you to write. It's been already written for that previous IPO versus reverse takeover technical article. So we are going to discuss about Dutch auction. Dutch auction. Okay. Yeah, Dutch auction. See, the objective of Dutch auction, the main objective, not only the one, but main objective of the Dutch auction is to minimize the potential mispricing in an IPO. It is to minimize the potential for mispricing of an IPO. The objective is to minimize the potential for mispricing of an IPO. See, in the previous example for the LinkedIn, is there any mispricing? For the example of LinkedIn, is there any mispricing at the time of initial day? Is there any mispricing? The LinkedIn only raised 45, but the market is ready for 94.25. Is there any mispricing? Yes. The objective of Dutch listing is to know the price based on the market forces like demand and supply. Okay. So I'll make an example. In order to get the idea, I'll make an example. Assume, I'll keep in a very minimal number. Assume we are planned to issue 100 number of shares. We are planned to issue 100 number of shares. Assume we decided to issue 100 number of shares, and we announced this through a Dutch auction. Dutch auction is a kind of it's a kind of, what is the term here used? It's kind of auction. Yeah, it's a kind of bidding or auction. See, there are a few investors named as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay, these are a few investors. The number of shares they applied was 30 numbers being applied by A, then 20 numbers be applied by B. I'm going for a random numbers, okay? These are the numbers being applied by each of the investors. Okay. In total, there's a 210 application. In total, there are 210 number of applications being received. And since it's a kind of auction, it's a concealed tender. It's a tender, okay? It's a tender where the price they are ready to give should be given by the investor only. The price is not fixed by the company. The issue price is not fixed by the company. The issue price is actually decided by the investor. They will in that tender or in that auction letter, they will let us know how many number of shares they are ready to buy at what price. How many number of shares they are applying, and for each shares, what is the price they are ready to give. So assume the price they are ready to give, price per share. Okay, I'll keep these are price per share in dollars. Price per share in dollars. See, $5, $5, $8, $7, $6, 4, 5, 7, 8, $4, $3, $2, $1. These were the prices they've been quoted. Okay. So, see, we can issue in total how much? We can issue in total how much? We plan to issue how many number of shares? Could you please comment?
100.
We plan to issue only 100, right? Yeah. So 100 number of shares. Maximum we could issue for max 100 shares. See, based on the market force, what is the maximum price? Based on the market force, the demand is from the customer, right? The investor, supply is by the organization. What is the maximum price per share an investor tendered for? What's the maximum price? 5, 6, 4, 8, 7, 3, 2, 1. What's the maximum price? Per share, what's the maximum price? 8, right? 8. So we will take this number of shares. We'll go for the highest price first. So 10 number of shares will be issued to D. 90 is left. We'll go for the next best, which is the next best, 7. 20 will be allotted to E. So if you want to get, as an investor, if you want to get allotted, you will go for the very lowest price or you will tender for the highest price. In order to get allotted through the Dutch auction, you will tender for the lowest price or the highest price. You tender for the highest price, right? Okay. See, we have to answer from the viewpoint of investor or the company, issuing company. In our exams, we have to answer from the viewpoint of the investor or from the issuing company. See, issuing company, we are looking for an alternative method for the IPO, right? So we will be ready to issue 10 shares to Mr. D, 20 shares to Mr. E, then which is next best? B, 20 shares. In total, it's 50 now. In total, it's 50 now. And in order to make this a simple example, I'm going to make 50 shares for A. 50 shares for A. So in total, 50 is already known, which is the next best price. It is 5. So 50 will be allotted this. So this is the final price. At this 5, this is the final price. At $5, it is the final price where it is the highest price at which all the shares can be sold. All the shares could be sold at 5, right? Right. So this will be the price. The 5 will be the $5. $5 will be the issue price. Issue price based on the demand and supply. $5 will be the issue price based on the demand and supply in the market, and this issue price for the not only for A, it will be the price for the entire 100 numbers. Not only for the A, we will be allotting 50 shares to Mr. A and 20 shares to Mr. B, and 10 shares to Mr. D, 20 shares to E, not on their tender price, but we will be issuing at the $5, which is the maximum price, the price which is all the shares can be sold. Okay. So this is based on the demand from the site, from the customers. Most of these cases, the price will be at the higher end. Why? Because in order to get allotted, if the organization's shares is good, if the organization is performing better, everyone will quote for the highest value. So that is the true value, and investor is ready to invest in the shares. Okay, so this is the methodology for Dutch auction. The objective is to minimize the potential for mispricing in an IPO. The entire 100 number of shares will be issued at this $5. Now I want to read once again this paragraph. Now I want to read this paragraph once again from your side. I'll wait. Okay. It's a concealed one, not an open option. Hopefully you guys go to know what is a minimal point. You already go to know about what is meant by Dutch auction. Now, see, in the exams, in order to get a fair marks from this question, typically this question can be in comparison between IPO versus reverse takeover versus this Dutch auction plus SPAC. That's what we are going to learn. For each of the topic, you just learn a key points. What is mean by that? And a very minimum one advantage and one disadvantage. That is going to give a fair marks in our exam. At least one advantage and one disadvantage. Okay. So we'll focus on the advantages of Dutch auction. Now let's focus on the advantages. Advantages of Dutch auction. Advantages. Yeah. I'll keep it a very minimal to learn. So the one of the option, this will help us to reduce the spread between the final offer price and actual market price. This reduces the spread between actual market price. Once again, I'll cut and paste this here. Yeah. So advantages, it reduces spread between final offer price and the actual market price. See why there was a spread between the price of LinkedIn. Why? Because the price 45 was fixed based on our methodologies and our assumptions. It was not based on the market force knowing the demand and supply. Through the equilibrium price of knowing market forces, we will be able to reduce the spread between the final offer price and the actual price if we go for Dutch auction. Okay. And plus another advantage, see, in order to, from the viewpoint of the organization, the organization will get benefited through this Dutch listing by higher prices. See, from the viewpoint of investor, in order to get allotted for the shares, they will go for the best higher price they could pay, right? They will go for the best price, the maximum price they can afford. So that will ensure, that will make beneficiary for the organization. This is said to be an aggressive bid. A Dutch auction, therefore, incentives more aggressive bids which benefit the companies being listed. The company could end up with getting more money or less money. What's your opinion? Through this Dutch auction, the organizations, which is the issuing organization, will get more money or less money. What's your opinion? Since the potential investors has to get issued, they have to go for the higher bid price. The organization will get more or less money. Yeah, there's a high chance that they will get more money. Okay. So these are the important two advantages. I'll take a very minimal. There are other points I already highlighted, but we'll keep, since there's a final days and this is not a key topic for our exams, but this is a highly important newly issued technical article. We can expect a few marks from this question. So as a minimal learning, we'll go for 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages for each. Okay. Have you noted down this? You can copy paste from the file, or else you can type. Have you noted this? Could you please confirm? Have you noted down this? Yes. So we'll go for a disadvantages now. Disadvantages of Dutch auction. See, assume our organization is not that much popular, and or the performance of the organization is not that much good. So the potential investors, are they going to bid higher price, or are they willing to bid for the company? What's your opinion? If at all the organization is not that much popular, or the organization is not performing well, there's a chance we will be the investors, the potential investors will be end up with issue or applying for a very less money, or they are not going to apply for the issue, right? There's a chance of that. In same way that the traditional IPO can be undersubscribed, this could also be in exactly the same way that a traditional IPO can be undersubscribed. The possibility remains that listing based on Dutch auction will also be unsuccessful if demand is weaker than anticipated. The demand means the demand comes from the company or the investors. What's your opinion? The demand investors. Comes from the investors. From what? Investors or from the company? We are suppliers, right? We are suppliers of the supplier of the shares. The demand comes from? Please respond. The demand comes from which side? The demand for shares comes from which side? Investors, right? Investors. See, if at all the organization is not performing well, or if the organization is not that much popular, there's a chance that in same way as in the IPO, this could also be undersubscribed. This could also be in same way as traditional IPO, this can also be undersubscribed. Okay, this is one disadvantage. Plus, see, through Dutch auction, through Dutch auctions, it is actually open for the retail investors, like us, the individual investors. We are said to be retail investors. The bigger players are said to be institutional investors. See, retail investors are less sophisticated than institutional investors, and they will be coming with only very less due diligence. Like, they are not doing that much homeworks, they are not doing that much pre-works in order to apply for this. What happens most of the times in real scenarios, most of the times after the Dutch auction, see, in that urge at the time of initial Dutch auction listing, through that anxiety, or through that most of the case at the auction time, the auctioners, these the players, the participants will try to bid for a bigger value. After getting the shares, they will get to know, oh, this shares is not worth, and they will try to sell it off the shares immediately after the auction. Oh, this is not that much worth. If I hold this, I'm going to end up with high loss. So it is better to sell it off at the earliest. See, at the time of tender, in order to at least get participation, in order to get allotted, there's a chance for human behavior. They will go for the best price. I should get that shares. The behavior of the investors will be like, I want that share, so I'll quote for the highest price. I will be the person who will be quoting at the best price. So every human's mentality goes like this manner, everyone will quote for the higher price. So it will be allotted to each investors at a bigger price. But after receiving only, they will get to know that, oh my God, this shares is not that much worth. So they will try to sell it off at immediately. Why? Because if they hold this for a longer term, this price is going to be reduced. In order to reduce their loss, though already they are in loss, but in order to reduce the loss, immediately after the listing, immediately after issuing the shares, they will sell off the shares. So read this once again. Retail investors are less sophisticated, and they will do very less homeworks. That is said to be due diligence. They are doing very less homeworks for that. Therefore, there is a risk they might be paying excessively high price. They may pay excessively price. As a result, after the issue, they will only get to know that the shares is not that much worth. As a result, they may attempt to liquidate their holdings as soon as trading commences, and this causes the share price to plummet. Plummet means in what? A deep reduction in the share price, a deep reduction in the share price. So how we will make this disadvantage in a shorter term? Retail investors are less prepared and end up paying higher price, which will lead to immediate liquidation. That means sell off. Immediate liquidation or sell off. Immediate sale of allotted shares, which might end up with, what's the term they use? Learn this, plummet, which might end up with plummet in share price of the organization. Plummet, we can name it as, it will end up with plummet trend in share price of the organization. Okay, this is only because this is number one, this is two. Okay, this is only because of the the retail investors are not well prepared. They are then only very lack of due diligence of these retail investors. Is it okay? Did you understood? Please confirm. Since they are less prepared for this valuation and all, there's a high chance that they will end up with paying very high price. Then immediately after the allotment, they will liquidate the shares which is allotted to them. This might end up with plummet trend. Plummet means a deep reduction in the share price. Is it good for a company? A deep reduction reduction in the share price trend for an organization. Is it a good for an organization? No, right? See, there are some patterns or behaviors will happen in the market. If at all the trend started for a reduction in the share price, that is going to hit at a very low price. That's a very adverse thing. Okay, so this is what we have to learn from Dutch auction. So I'm just going to stop with Dutch auction and we'll move to the next one. Shall we continue to next alternative methodology? Shall we continue quickly? Yes. Yeah. So next one is SPAC, special purpose auction. Special purpose auction company. SPAC, special purpose auction company. Okay. See, from the viewpoint of organization, what was our objective? We want to get listed, right? In order to become tradable, or in order to make our securities marketable, or in order to raise new funds, in order to raise new capital, we should go for what? We are trying to go for what? Private company or as a public company? The organization is trying to become what company? The organization is trying to become what company? Public, right? What was the traditional method to become a public? What was the traditional method? It was IPO, but it has it requires a lot of time, plus it requires a lot of cost, right? So another methodology, this is an indirect way similar to reverse takeover to get listed. See, another way, an alternative methodology, another way for a private company to become publicly traded is by merging with an already listed SPAC. See, this SPAC company is a separate company which is already listed. This is already listed. So we will approach a SPAC. Our organization will approach a SPAC and will ask the SPAC company to acquire us. SPAC company is already listed, and this acquisition will be through a share for share offer. So that our company shares will be cancelled. Our company shares will be cancelled, and new shares will be issued to our shareholders, which is the shares of SPAC company, which is already listed. So our shareholders, our company shareholders will be holding. See, previously our company shareholders was holding an unlisted company shares. Now that will be cancelled. In order to after cancelling those shares, they will be awarded with SPAC company shares, which is listed. Is it okay? Is it okay? That our shareholders is getting shares which is already a listed SPAC company shares. Is it okay? So I'll explain what is mean by SPAC now. SPAC is an already listed company. One second. See, assume this is SPAC. Assume this is SPAC. This is our company. So SPAC will provide capital. It can be a mix offer as well. Okay, it can be a mix offer as well. The company could raise further money through share exchange or share offer. Okay, so our company will approach this company. Our company will approach SPAC company, and we will be merged with the SPAC company. Our organization will be merged with the SPAC company, and our company's shares will be cancelled. Our shareholders will be getting the shares of the SPAC company, which is already listed in a stock market. Is it okay? Is it okay? Please do respond. How we are getting in? How our shareholders are getting in listed shares? Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
We are merging with an already listed company. Our company is merging with an already listed company. So what is a SPAC? See, SPAC is an organization only in papers. SPAC is an organization which is only in papers. Only in papers. But the advantages of this is there will be SPAC sponsors. There will be individuals which is named as SPAC sponsors. Assume Elon Musk. Assume Warren Buffett. Some key investors are starting a company only in paper. There is no physical asset. There is no other operation business activities is going to happen. But they are in paper. They are registered company. Are you ready to invest? Are you ready to provide the funds to that SPAC? I will be ready. Why? Because there are expert persons. There are expert, well-recognized persons in that company. They are said to be SPAC sponsors. Will you be ready to invest in that company? Would you please respond yes or no? Like a person like Elon Musk, a person like Warren Buffett, a person like well-known persons, economists and all, definitely, right? So
Yes.
SPAC company are in just papers only. You can read here. SPAC is usually formed by people with industry experience who provide the initial capital prior to the SPAC being listed. So Elon Musk, similar to Elon Musk, a few people will come together and they will initially pull a few initial capital which is required for starting a company. Then these are said to be SPAC. Okay, so I'll start with the SPAC. SPAC is registered now. Now they will collect fund from individuals or institutional investors. There will be many persons are ready to investors in this company. So there are a lot of money with this SPAC. Okay, so they already went through the process of listing and they collected money from the public. Now the SPAC is a listed company. They started with SPAC sponsors. The organized SPAC is started within paper with SPAC sponsors with very little capital, which is a minimal required for the registration of the company. After that, they will go for their listing. They will collect huge money from the public. They will collect huge money from the public. Now, the SPAC have already listed, plus the SPAC is already with a lot of money. At this moment, when we feel like Elance, I'll take the example of Elance. Elance 5 years back, we were started very small. Now through our performance, we are super. Our performance in the academics is very super. We are confident in what we are doing, right? At this moment, we are confident to pitch to the investor. At this moment, we are well confident to pitch to the new investors. So when the organization is ready with their good performance and all, even the market, see, the stock market might be in a downturn. The stock market might be in downturn. See, if at all the stock market at the depression time, if we go for initial public offer, definitely it is going to take a lot of time. Definitely it will take off a lot of cost. Plus, we will be unable to raise the money what we are required. If we go for what? At the time of downturn in the market, it will take a lot of time. Plus, we will end up with a lot of cost. And we'll end up with very less money if we'll continue with the what offer. The traditional methodology, it was what? Please respond. We'll go for what? IPO, right? When we feel confident, even though the market is downturn, we are approaching a SPAC. SPAC is already listed. They are already with good money, right? So if we could convince the SPAC about our performance, the SPAC doesn't have any activity. They doesn't have any business. They are only in papers with good money, right? If our company is able to convince the SPAC sponsors, the SPAC sponsors will go for a voting with the investors. After that, they will acquire our shares. Through this way, our company could able to find capital. This is the alternative method in order to take capital, plus we can become an listed company. Is it okay? Is it okay? Please do respond how we can become a listed company through SPAC, through approaching special purpose acquisition company. Did you got this methodology behind this? I'll give you a few minutes. If you want to write something related to SPAC, you can note it down. I'll wait. As we done for debts listing, debts auction, we will write down one or two advantages and disadvantages, one or two disadvantages and advantages for this SPAC listing. So for SPAC, advantages. Compared to IPO, the cost and time will be significantly more or less, since it is already a listed company. Yeah, the time significantly less time and cost to complete compared to an IPO. Yeah. See, this could be done. See, SPAC will be successful even at the time of capital markets are what? Capital markets are, the SPAC will be successful even at the time of capital markets are
in depression.
Depressed, right? It is not based on the market. It is based on how we are pitching to the investor. If we could satisfy the needs or if we could satisfy the projects, how we are presenting to them, we can make this as successful. So these are the two advantages for SPAC. Now look at disadvantages. Now look at the disadvantages. See, there's a chance. See, there were some persons named as SPAC sponsors, right? We will be merged with another company. So there's a chance our company's management team will remain same or it will be changed. There's a chance our company, since we are merging with another company, the board persons or the ratio of the board members, will be the same as our previous, or is it going to be changed? It is changed, right? In an IPO, the controlling stake will be the initial promoters. Assume Elance, I'm the initial investor of this. Me, Jishnu sir, Jojo sir, we are the initial promoters of this organization. Assume we are going for an IPO, we'll be taking fund from the public, but we will keep the controlling stake with ourselves, right? But in this case of SPAC, there's a chance that the board, the proposition of the board, the management team, the leadership, it might change. So whenever the leadership and change in the composition of the team, it might have difficulties in cultural and strategic issues. This may lead to failures. Okay. And see, already this methodology consumes less time, but it requires a lot of time and experience in identifying and good SPAC sponsors and advisors. See, we are approaching SPACs, right? Our company is approaching SPAC. How we will identify which SPAC is good? See, these are companies in papers only. These are special purpose companies. How we will identify which SPAC is better for us? It is through our analysis only. So identifying SPAC for our target company, it requires a lot of time and expertise in that area. If we are very weak in identifying good SPAC, the entire success of that process will go in negative manner, in adverse manner for our company. So the target company will need to do thorough due diligence on these SPAC sponsors and advisors. This requires what? This requires what? Time and skill, right? Are you agreeing with that? Identifying and good SPAC sponsors and advisors. This requires good time and good skills, right? Are you agreeing with that point? Could you please confirm quickly? Yes? Yeah, good. So note it down. I'll give you a few minutes, like 3 to 5 minutes. This is not only about just completing the technical article. I want to learn these points. You just think about what was IPO. Think about minimum one advantage and one disadvantage of IPO. And please go through these points once again for Dutch auction and SPACs. I'll give you 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. I'm waiting for that. So, yeah. So we got one more alternative methodology for IPO, alternative to IPO. Please do read direct listing. Please do read direct listing. I'll wait. See, in IPO, what is happening? I'll take the example of Elance. Assume I am the only one shareholder. I'm the only one shareholder. I'm holding company's 100 number of shares. In IPO, we will be issuing new shares. We'll be issuing new shares. I already holding 100 shares in this company. And our organization will be issuing new 50 shares. After the IPO, how many number of shares will be in the organization if everything went smooth, entire shareholding, entire new issue has been accepted by the market? How many new shares will be in the market for the company after the IPO? It will be 150, right? It will be 150. See, I already holding 100 number of shares. I am the promoter. I am the existing shareholders. While we going for IPO, we'll be issuing new shares to the public. And we will make sure that it won't be allow the public to gain control over my company. So if I am holding 100 shares, a maximum I'll go for 98 or 99 maximum number of shares. I'll keep 100 with myself. So in this example, I issued new shares 50 to the public, and the company will be able to raise new funds through the sale of the issue of these shares. This is what happening in the IPO. Is it okay? Is it okay? This could be done through underwriters only. This could be done through underwriters only. But in case of direct listing, there is no new issue shares. There is no issue of shares, new issue of shares. $25 number of shares will be issued to the public. So after the issue, the total number of shares remains 100. After direct listing, the total number of shares remains listed. I will be holding 75 number of shares. I will be holding 75 number of shares. These 25 number of shares will be sold to the 25 number of shares will be sold to the public, and the fund will be channeled to the organization. No, the fund will comes to the existing shareholder. It was me. In my example, it was me. In my example, I already said to assume I am the only existing shareholders. I hold 100 number of shares. Out of this, 25 shares is directly sold to the public. Directly sold to the public. Here, who is getting the capital? The company or the promoter, early investor? Who is getting the additional fund of that 25 number of shares? The company or the initial promoter? Initial promoter. Please respond. Through direct listing, the company is getting listed in the stock market, but the capital is channeled to the initial promoter. So for direct listing, the key points for direct listing, the key takeaway points: no new shares issued. No new capital raised for organization. No new capital raised for organization. So since there is no capital is required, no new issue of shares, no need of underwriters. No need of underwriters. Okay. These are the key natures of direct listing. So what was the purpose of direct listing? This will help. See, direct listing will help our initial promoters to get an exit route. This provides an exit route for the private companies' early investors. They could at least sell off a few. This will enable an exit route for the private companies' early investors. In my example, it was me. Elance company is a private company at this moment. If I want to sell off a few shares and I want to raise the money, see, the company could go for a direct listing. Okay. What will be the advantages? The company will be a listed company, plus the initial promoters can it will enable the initial promoters for an exit route. So what will be the advantages? Does this offer a listing? Yes. It will be more cost effective. Why? Because there is no involvement of underwriters. Whenever there is an underwriters are helping us to give a guarantee for the new issue of shares. Underwriters are required. We are taking their service in order to get a guarantee for the issue of new shares. For that, they will ask for a 2 to 7% of the issue proceeds, which makes the listing as an costlier one. Here, there is no requirement of underwriter, since there is no new issue of shares. This will be more cost effective. This will be more cost effective. And this method will be suitable for, this method is suitable for a company which is, this is suitable for companies that do not need to raise capital. See, a company want to become listed, but the company doesn't want more funds. See, sometimes more cash balance, more proceeds from the shares will be a trouble for the organization. See, more cash position, it might trigger as an acquisition for some predators over us. Okay, if a company want to go for a listing without raise new capital, they can for direct listing. So these are the advantages. There are a few other advantages as well. Quickly, I'll go for disadvantages as well. Quickly, I will go for a disadvantages. This is not a method, not suitable. For which company? This is not listed for an for organization which requires more capital for future growth. This is not a suitable method. Not the suitable method. Not the suitable method for a company that needs capital for finance, if for their future growth. And without an underwriter getting, see, even with the help of underwriters also, in the examples of LinkedIn, we came to know that there is a chance of mispricing. So without underwriters, high chance for misprice of shares. Okay, without underwriters, high chance for misprice of shares. So these are the disadvantages of direct listing. Please go through once again the key points what we learned here. That's more than enough to score a fair marks from this technical article. Having said this, I'm going to stop the discussion of this technical article. Okay.